But now I see myself being a problem solver. And I know what you're gonna say, software engineer, they usually, they are problem solvers, and that's true. That's true. But I feel like they solve one part of the problem, which is the technical aspect. It's 2026, it's a brand new year, and I thought I just would tell y'all what I learned from last year. If you don't know by now, I work in tech. I do tech outside of work as well. So by tech, I mean software engineering. Now, what I had to learn in 2025 was identity shift. With AI being, what it was last year, like it seemed like it was the topic of the year for real. And seeing the power it can do, like I had to shift my identity as somebody who works with tech. So at first, let me give you an example. So at first, I've always thought of myself as, just a software engineer, programmer, whatever, computer software engineer, whatever you want to call it. But now I see myself being a problem solver. And I know what you're gonna say, software engineer, they usually, they are problem solvers, and that's true. That's true. But I feel like they solve one part of the problem, which is the technical aspect. With AI now, you have the ability to do front end, back end, get real world production advice on how to put your app in the cloud or your software in the cloud, cybersecurity practices, stuff that will usually take you months to probably research and implement, go through all the errors. It takes hours, if that, maybe minutes, if that, you know what I'm saying? And that shocked the heck out of me this year, man, because it's just like, dang, you spend your whole college years, you spend, a large amount of time studying syntax, algorithms, things like that. And that's still important. Don't get me wrong, that's still important. But now that we have AI, you're not thinking of, okay, should I use a binary search tree for this problem? Should I do boom, boom, boom? You type in what problem it is, and AI will give you a solution. Prompting is important too, but we'll get into that later. Like, I really used to think my value came from how well I could write code, how well I can structure it, how many languages do I know, things like that. Just really skill maxing or language maxing, if you can call it that, you know what I'm saying? But with AI changed all of that. You no longer need like the 10 years of coding syntax grind and expertise anymore. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you still gotta learn a little data structures and algorithms and things like that in the leak code. That's still a part of the interview process, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, I feel as though if you're a creative person, if you're somebody that don't really see yourself behind a desk for 40, 50, 60 years, I feel like you should go all in this year, you know what I'm saying? All in and use the out of AI. Even if you're a software engineer, just use it, bro. Like, don't rely on it. Now, you need to know how to structure applications, system design, things like that. I'm not saying these one prompt, AI apps or one prompt vibe coded software is gonna, get you out your situation and, you become a millionaire and things like that. But you still need to learn the structure. You know what I'm saying? You still need to learn what makes an app good, what makes an app bad technically, because you don't want to come to a point where it's like, yeah, you release the app, but now hackers have your whole database and you have ransomware now where, you lose all your data if you don't pay a certain amount. That's happening now. So just be aware of that. So with that being said, I had to really sit down and think about it, and I put that in this video right here. Y'all should go check that out. When I say, bro, I had to change my identity. I'm no longer a software engineer, I'm a problem solver. I know that sounds cliche. It might sound champ. If you're from the DMV, you know what champ means. but it's necessary. It's necessary. So what I mean by that is, now I'm learning, AI agents, prompting, cloud, automations, and so forth and so forth. I'm not just learning, okay, this function in Python, if you don't indent, then the whole thing's gonna be wrong and things like. I'm not learning that no more, And that stuff you pick up on as you create these apps and you do little tweaks in code and you start to see the same things over and over again. It's pattern recognition for real. But I had to realize that coding itself is just a tool. It's just a tool. Coding itself is just a tool. It's just like AI. It's just a tool. And cloud is another tool. You know what I'm saying? So the real skill and the real marketable skill from now going forth is you can walk into a messy situation and say, okay, I can face this. You know what I'm saying? Companies want to see you come in on day one changing things, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So the future isn't really about who can create, who can write the best code, who can write the best algorithm and things like that. It's really about who can take these tools, code, AI, cloud, whatever, and build systems that offer real solutions to the problems we've been having for a long time now, you know what I'm saying? But that's just a little update, you know what I'm saying? Happy New Year. We all gonna get to it. Let me know what y'all got planned for the New Year's too. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video.